Kevin said, my name is Lars Weissner. I'm working for Huawei Devices as a Vice President for Devices in Western Europe. Also from me, a very, very warm welcome to all of you. I hope we have very exciting news for you, a very nice story for you to tell. And just going back in time, I remember our IFA fair last year, where we actually had the first Huawei branded smartphone launch in Germany with the EOS X3. You all might remember that. We also actually had a very small press conference together with a few of your colleagues, and we have been quite successful, as I can see with the look in this round, coming from just a few hand-selected journalists last year to a full audience in this room. So thank you very much for all your support you gave us through the last 12 months. We are very thankful for that, and we hope that we can continue our very good relationship and take Huawei to the next level in Europe. So as you all know, Huawei Device, which we now call Huawei Consumer Business, is part of Huawei Technologies. In Huawei Technologies, we focus purely on telecommunication, so we live and breathe telecommunication. Nowadays, we are, I think, the only company in the world who actually can really offer any kind of hardware you need to make a phone call, from the start of someone picking up a phone to the end where someone is actually receiving a phone call. Everything in between we actually can deliver. And if you look at Huawei Technology as a company, we are now the second largest telecommunication solution provider worldwide. Last year we had a turnover of roughly 33 billion US dollars, and we have around about 140,000 employees with a very, very strong focus on R&D. The strong focus on R&D is very important for us, as we really want to drive this industry to the next level. So we are investing a lot of our money into the next standards. We have been, for the last few years, one of the biggest contenders for applications for patents. And this shows our dedication to this industry, and actually we really want to take this also forward. We want to take this forward to make sure that we actually can help everybody to communicate. So today, around about 1/3 of the world's population is doing their communication daily based on our solutions, on our products. And I think that's something which we can really be proud of. If we're now talking about Huawei Devices, as I said, we're entering a new era for the Huawei Devices. If you look at 2009, 2010, we actually have not been among the top 10 vendors for mobile communication devices. Nowadays, since the end of last year, we are worldwide number 6, according to Gartner numbers. And obviously we want to continue this growth, and we are aiming, if we're looking at 2015 and plus, to be among the top 2 players in this space. Huawei Device, if you look at the financial figures, it's also quite successful. We have a CAGR of around about 40%. I think that also shows what we are capable of doing, and we are definitely working on reaching the estimation we have put upwards here. So the year looks actually quite good for us. In terms of global revenue, last year we had around about 7 billion, shipped so far around about 150 million devices, and of these devices, around about 75% are actually exported to the world, not used made in China. A lot of people think that our main market is made in China. It is important, yes, of course, but we have to make sure that we are successful globally, and for that we also invest in terms of our product researches and product development on a global scale. So we have R&D centers around the globe, for example, in Europe, obviously, in the US, in China, in Japan, and also in India, all focusing on different topics, but all working together to make the next thing come true. We also serve the world with our solutions. So we export devices in more than 140 countries in the world. With that, we are serving all of the top 50 mobile operators around the world. So we are well established with our solutions, with our devices, with our whole portfolio of mobile communication tools. In terms of our product line, we know that we have actually 3 different product lines. We originally come from the MBB area, so our first successes we have had actually with mobile dongles to enable laptops to be connected. We now also offer mobile Wi-Fi devices, we offer MBB devices. We are the leading provider of home solutions, DSL modems and these things. We see tremendous growth in this area on the set-top box side, and obviously also the handset part is getting more and more important for us, and that's where we actually want to drive our brand with. If you're looking at the handset market as such, you see that at the end of 2010 we still had a situation where we're looking at the global market where we had a very, very substantial feature phone business and a strong business with high-end smartphones. Actually, this is changing at the moment. Feature phones are getting less and less important. If you look at some of the European countries, we are already talking about a new device sales of more than 70% smartphones towards 30% feature phones. That will continue, and one of the reasons why that is that also smartphones actually have increased in price, and the price proposition is something which is very, very important. That's why you see a substantial market for mass market and for elite smartphones. Just a few information on our MBB and what we want to achieve here. Obviously, we came from the plug-and-play modems. We are now offering the whole bandwidth of sticks, of Wi-Fi routers, with all possible connectivity, whether it be LTE or HSPA plus and these things. And one of the very interesting figures here is that in Western Europe, we are at the moment calculating that roughly 1 in every 5 of us is using a Huawei device in this space, which I think is also a quite significant number and a good success story that we can actually be proud of. And finally, the home solutions area, where we are also making big progresses. The home solution areas is for us very important because of the convergence and the connectivity. And nowadays, if you look at a modern day smartphone, you can actually use that to control your whole home environment. And driven out of these developments, home solutions is getting more and more important for us as well in terms of brand recognition. If we are talking about our devices in general, there are actually 4 cornerstones which are deeply at our heart, which are very, very important for us, topics we actually want to stand for and we want to drive forward. The one thing definitely is the performance of the device. End users these days don't want to sacrifice performance. If they use a device, it needs to be smooth, everything needs to not be sticky, it needs to be really, really a slick, smooth operation. And for that matter, we are looking into the best chipsets we can get for the certain price points, and if we can find it, we develop our own, like the K3V2. Then we have the topic of autonomy. I guess all of us have been using smartphones in the past where you were trying to look for power plugs half a day through such a fair because you were already down on battery. This is something the end user is not accepting anymore. This is something which we have addressed coming from the Huawei Honor, and we will continue to do that because this autonomy is something which makes a true mobile experience. The third pillar is the audio-visual capabilities. It's very, very important that the displays is very good, but also that the sound quality is very good, and everything combined is very good. So the whole experience around entering and exiting visual content is very, very important. And also here we are taking necessary steps to improve our devices to make them state-of-the-art. And finally, with all these things you have to have on the devices, you all have to remember that a smartphone is still a phone, and you actually use it as a phone. That's especially true in that area. It's also true for the high-end devices, but to a lesser extent maybe, but it's very, very important that the end user doesn't feel that he's holding an iron in his hand, that he's holding a phone in his hand. He can use it as a phone, because that's what the natural use of a smartphone is actually for. Besides that, which there is now more and more hardware related, we also are taking very, very big steps forward in terms of software and taking these pillars also into our software development. And for the next few minutes, I would ask Dennis Poon to come on stage, our director for user interface, based in Shenzhen in our head office, and he will talk about ideas how we want to improve this usability of devices going forward. Before he comes on the stage, I have another nice video for you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Dennis. As Lars introduced just now, I'm from the headquarters from Shenzhen. I'm in charge of our UI development for all Huawei devices. Excuse me. So in case I lose some of my audience in the next 10 minutes, which sometimes happens, especially after a big lunch, I want you to take away a key message today, which is Huawei understands the importance of design, and we're investing heavily in that. Not just in industrial design, but also in user interface design and user experience design. So that's the key message. So how do we do that? Let me take half a step back here. When I joined Huawei in almost the same time last year, the chairman gave me an assignment. He wanted me to build a user interface that not only will help us build a consumer brand, but also will add value to our devices. So we did exactly just that. And we started with a philosophy, what we call design with empathy. Now, what that means is that we really put ourselves in our users' shoes. We put people before technology. We put ourselves in the lives and we try to tailor our design to people's emotions. Now you might be thinking, what's the big deal? I've heard that before. Every manufacturer talks about being close to users and stuff like that. Okay, the big deal here is we've taken that a step further. We actually do what we said. By changing from user-centric design to what we call user-assisted design. The difference is, with user-centered design, what you're doing is you try to understand your users, right? You listen to them, you hear them out. But with user-assisted design, you actually get them involved in the design process. Okay, so that's the big change here. We've done a lot of things to prove that. Once we've, well, actually twice, we've done what we call user experience salon. We invited people to a dedicated place, a very nice coffee shop actually, to spend half a day with these users. Every time there were about 40 to 70 users. And we spent a lot of time going through our UI with them, trying to understand what was working and what was not working. And also, on top of that, every day we track users on the internet. We have forums, we have microblogs, and every day my design team gets a list of all the input from users on a daily basis. Okay, every day around 5 o'clock, I get a list, and then immediately we would go through that list with the software engineers to see if any of those things can be implemented. So that's one big change that we're going through at Huawei right now, which is getting people really heavily involved. Second big change, actually I touched on that just now, is so once we get those input, what do we do with them? Can you still hear me? Okay. So what do we do with them? We actually have what we call like quick releases now. Rather than having to wait every half a year for a big software release, we have now iterative releases that comes out every month. In fact, actually every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks there's a beta release. And every month there's a stable release. That's a big deal. Okay? Not many manufacturers in the world can do that. And honestly, it's driving us crazy. Right? Imagine every day you listen to the end users and you try to respond to them. And actually my boss asked me to personally get on those forums and microblogs and respond to end users. So if they have a good idea, I really need to respond to them and let them know when that good idea will be implemented. And furthermore, moving forward, we already have plans to actually invite some of these like expert users or opinion leaders to come into Huawei, to our headquarters, and we'll hold like forums and work very closely with them for half a day and a day, and really try to get people to be part of the design process. So that's a big deal. So what's Emotion UI? Emotion UI right now is really an experience layer that we've developed specifically for Android. Not just for Android phone, but also for other Android devices. In case you're going to ask me, which I'm sure you will, do we have plans to port it over to other platforms right now? The answer is no. We're focusing on Android at this point in time. And to back up what I said earlier, we really try to design Emotion UI to address people's basic, emotional needs. So what's our core thinking here? What I'm trying to do with Emotion UI is to try to build a complete user experience. And in my mind, a complete user experience has 3 components. There's discover, enjoy, and share. And regardless to what you're talking about here, whether you're talking about looking for a person to communicate with, or whether you're looking for a piece of content to enjoy, you pretty much go through the same cycle every single time. And we acknowledge that sharing is actually the best way of discovery, because based on research, we realize that a lot of people actually don't get online to search for content anymore these days because it's just so difficult because there's so much content on the internet. So the best way to get hold of content or get hold of people is to use word of mouth. So we believe sharing is actually the best way to enable discovery. And we're trying to build Emotion UI to make these 3 things, discover, enjoy, and share, easy for our end users. And we have 5 what we call experience pillars to support that. First one is cloud. Moving forward, everything is going to be linked to cloud, even your notepad. Everything is going to be linked to cloud. Contextual awareness. Actually, I want to rephrase this. Rather than saying contextual awareness, I want to change it to smartness. Okay? Because every time I mention contextual awareness, people think, wow, contextual awareness engine, rocket science, the holy grail of mobile computing. We are into technology, but we're also looking into many other ways to make our phone seem smarter. There are a lot of things that you can do, right? I mean, you can do very simple things, low-hanging fruits, and people will still get a sense that, hey, wow, this phone is smart, it understands me. So that's contextual awareness. And then we have natural interaction. When I talk about natural interaction, basically I mean three things. There's voice, there's gesture, and then there's also face/eye recognition. So all those three things add up to natural interaction. And then personalization, customization, meaning that you can change your phone's wallpaper, font, icons, things like that. That's customization or personalization. Last but not least, we acknowledge that there are still rooms for improvement on Android with basic usability, and we will continue to make those improvements. So those are the 5 experience pillars. Okay, so back to key selling points. You actually saw some of that in the video just now, so I'm not going to spend tremendous amount of time talking about that again. But just to pick 4 which I think are the coolest. First one is called Uni Home. So what it is that for those Android users out there, you know that on Android today you have home screens, the home panels, and then you also have the main menu, or what we call the apps launcher. Those two things are separate entities. And a lot of novice users, again, this is based on research, a lot of users find that very, very confusing, right? Imagine a novice user trying to delete something on the home screen, and then you're going to the main menu and realize, hey, that thing is still there. They get really confused. So what we've done is we took the liberty of basically combining the two. That's why it's called Uni Home. Uni stands for unified. We've combined home with main menu, and now we have like multiple panels which supports both widgets and applications. Not shortcuts of applications, but actually applications themselves. So this makes life a lot easier for people, especially when they try to organize and personalize their desktop. One thing worth highlighting here is, you also saw it in the video just now, is what we call the Me widget. You see that there are multiple tiles here, but it's actually one single widget. That means like if you long press on it, you can move it around, you can delete it as one single widget. The advantage of that is that it's easier for people, again, to organize the desktop. So you can have one widget for all of your contacts, for instance, your favorite people, and you can have other widgets for other things. Personalization, I touched on that just now, being able to change wallpaper, icons, fonts, things like that, because we realize, everybody has their own style, so your phone should be unique to match your style. So we've allowed people to make customization in separate areas. First of all, it's wallpaper, and for every phone that we ship, we're gonna preload 5 themes. The default theme is called Breeze. And then we have also other themes which are catered for different user types, like business people, female, and youth. Last but not least, we also have a power saving mode, everything just a little bit darker, but that actually helps save power quite significantly, especially on AMOLED. And we also, by Google's request, we have to preload their own theme as well. That's all good, but the more important thing is, or the most interesting part, is that we will have themes available online for end users to download. At this point in time, as we speak, there are 26 themes online. Not a lot. Some people think, wow, I can go through that in half a day. That's not a big deal, because we're going to have competitions, we're going to work with schools, we're going to work with design firms. In fact, as soon as I get back to Shenzhen next week, I'm going to do a tour of schools, design schools in China, to promote this event, the themes design competition. So we strongly believe that we will get the number up in no time. In fact, I was given a goal to get it up to around 1,000 by the end of the year. Okay, and I believe that's doable. So that's the big deal here. Okay, another interesting feature called profiles. When you're in different situations, whether you're in a meeting or you're driving, you might need different settings for your phone. So here what we've done is we've introduced a quick way of swifting or shifting to any one of these 5 modes. These are preloaded, they're predefined, but users can also define their own modes if necessary. So all that is good, but what about novice users, right? We talked about that a little bit earlier. Like, okay, well, users have problems sometimes understanding Android, because Android is a little bit on the technical side. So we acknowledge that. We've talked to a lot of carriers, and this is definitely one of the biggest pain points that everyone faces. Because a lot of people who are thinking about buying a smartphone today are actually feature phone users. A lot of things that we, in this room take for granted, like gestures and long presses, things like that, novice users have absolutely no idea how to work. So what we've done is we've introduced something called Smart Tutorial. And Smart Tutorial actually has 3 components. It's not a single application. It actually has 3 parts. Quick guide, instant tips, and help center. 3 parts. So when users turn on the phone for the first time, go through what we call OOBE, out-of-box experience, they will be confronted with a deck of information. Just 8 cards. Very simple information to tell people some of the basics that I just mentioned. Once people start using the phone, we'll have tips when they're needed. When people encounter a new application or a new feature, tips will come up. Obviously, if you are not a novice user, you can turn these things off, at the quick guide. You just uncheck it and that's it. It won't bother you. But last but not least, there's also a standalone application which is a help center. So if even this is not enough or these are not enough, you can get extra help even from this application, standalone application. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, I only highlighted 4 features out of all the ones that you saw in the video just now. So again, I just want to summarize everything in 3 points. First point is that we're taking users seriously, and we're including them in our design process. So that's what we call the user-assisted design. That's one thing. Second thing is now we have these quick iterations, quick releases, every 2 weeks a beta version, and every month a stable version. Last one, which was not covered on any of my slides, is innovation. We are changing from a ODM to a company that's trying to build our own brand, a consumer brand, and we understand the importance of innovation. So Huawei is actually heavily investing in innovation as well. And actually for this audience, I can tell you that I'm already looking into Emotion UI 3.0, which is for 2014. So we're not just looking at 3 months ahead or half a year ahead, which we previously did when we were just an ODM. So now we're really trying to look a little bit more forward and be an innovative company. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. We have a Q&A session after my part, and then you can actually direct your questions to Dennis as well in a couple of minutes. So as Dennis said, Motion UI is at our heart. It's very, very important for us, and we actually will also have our Ascent P1 users benefiting from that. We will release a beta version to get feedback also from the European market and push this forward here. But for the next few devices I'm going to talk about, the Emotion UI is not yet implemented for the European market, so what all you see in the next minutes will not be with the Emotion UI as a standard software. So if we are talking about the Huawei Ascent family, we actually have to talk about 4 different flavors. Starting with the young segment, the Ascent Y segment, which is the entry-level smartphones. Going over the G segment, the Ascent G series, which is also focusing on delivering the best performance on a budget phone. To the Platinum series, where we have just launched the Ascent P1 very successfully in the German market space. And then finally, as the Ultra phone, the Ascent D series. And what you will see in the next few couple of slides is that going forward into Q4 for the Christmas business, we actually have contenders in the market for all these segments. So we are now arrived at where we started last year. We are the full sortiment of devices for every price point, and we're very proud of that. But let me start with the first new contender in the Ascent Y series. Ascent Y series, as I said, for us is for the entry level. It's actually not so much dedicated for just being a good value device, but it's really going to take the ideas of the young people, the people who actually are saving their pocket money to buy their first smartphone from their first earned pocket money. And for that, we actually have to understand their needs, and we have to make sure that these needs are implemented in the devices. And for Q4, we actually are offering this very, very nice device. It's called the Ascent Y201 Pro. It's my first smartphone for the young generation, my first smartphone, and it ships with ICS, which is a very, very strong message. It's very important to realize that it has a very, very powerful and smooth interaction for the end user. It has an 1800 megahertz, sorry, 800 megahertz CPU, which gives you a very, very decent performance on ICS, especially because it also ships with 512 MB of RAM and 4 gig of ROM, which makes it a very, very good and solid experience. From a size point of view, as you can see, it's very, very small, with a 3.5 inch, so you can actually plug it in your back pocket without any problems. It won't harm you at any stage, and it will have the Android experience you actually want to have from such a phone these days. The availability for this device will be in October. From October onwards, we'll ship this device. And the recommended retail price we're aiming for is, now for the German market, it might vary slightly in other markets, but for the German market, it's 129 euros. And going to the next segment, which is very, very important for us, the SNG series, where we really want to reach out to the people, to the novel users Dennis was talking about so much, the people who actually are coming from the feature phone and going to the smartphone and want to have the right companion for their new entry-level smartphone tariffs. So we really want to grab them on an emotional level, we want to engage them with them, and for them, we also have 2 new devices for the second half, for Q4 business. The first one, which is this baby, is called SNG 300. The SNG 300 is actually everything you need from an up-to-date smartphone. It obviously also ships with ICS for that matter. It has a very, very powerful gaming experience based on a dual-core processor. It is packed with features, so that it's a very, very good out-of-the-box experience. And as you also can see with a 4-inch screen, it's a perfect fit. It's also very, very small and has good in your hand. You still can operate it with one hand without any problem. This device is also going to be available from the end of October. Our recommendation for the retail price is 199 euro. But because the G series is so important for us, it's not the only contender for this in Q4. We're also launching this nice baby, and that's called the SNG 600. The SNG 600, as you already can see, is slightly bigger than the G330. It features a 4.5-inch QHD resolution display. It has more power. It ships with also a dual-core processor with a higher clocking than the G330. It has very, very good audio performance with BTS included, and a very, very long battery lifetime. So we're taking the Honor story to the next level with this device. It will have a 2000 mAh battery, which will last even a heavy user for 2 days. And this is also the first device which we ship as a basic option with NFC. So you can actually say that besides all the standard features like UMTS and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and so on, it also has NFC included. Which makes this also a quite nice offering for the business space, because in business we see more and more uptake on NFC technology. So these 3 devices for us are the devices which are very important as volume drivers. So we expect them to be a significant contributor in the Christmas business, with the price points of 129 for the Y21 Pro, the 199 for the G330, and this device, our recommended retail price is 299 euros, which is also, I think, a very, very aggressive package. Which brings us to the next series. You know that we have YNG as the volume series, and then we have the SNP series and the SND series on the high end of the smartphone segments. For the SNP series, obviously, design is what matters. A lot of you already know about this device. It's the SNP1 which we are still very, very proudly selling, promoting, and in some of the European countries it will be available in Q4, in others like Germany is already available. And we have learned quite a lot with this device, and we are very, very happy with the performance we see at the moment. It's a super slim device. It has brilliant looks in terms of the design, but also in terms of the Super AMOLED display with a QHD resolution. It's silky smooth from the touch and feel, but it's also silky smooth in terms of the operation of the device. You have very, very enjoyable entertainment functions in this device, and obviously also a super clear sound with Dolby Mobile and noise reduction. And then maybe the big moment you have been all waiting for, at least I hope you have been all waiting for, the D-Series, and now our entrance to the D-Series market, to the Ultra phones, to every technology lover has been waiting for. We are in October launching this nice baby. Some of you might have seen it before. It's our SN D1 Quad in the XL version. It is lightning fast because it ships with our own developed processor, the K3V2, on a 1.4 gigahertz clocking. It has a very, very fast camera with 8 megapixels. It has a stunning display. The resolution of the display is 330 dpi's, so it's even better than what Apple calls Retina. It has a very, very good sound performance. Again, we have included a very, very high quality noise reduction software, as well as Dolby Mobile, so that the entertainment part is not going to disappoint you. And finally, and that's I think the very, very big thing for a powerhouse like this, we actually are launching the device with a 2,600 milliamp battery, which will, even for heavy users, last for 3 days. And I think that's a very, very big commitment from our side towards the technology lovers. Besides smartphones, we actually do something else as well. So now going from the smartphone world into our tablet offering. You all know that we have launched this device a year ago. It's from the MediaPad, you're all aware of that. It's the beginning of actually a whole family. So this was the first one. But now going to Q4, we are finally shipping the MediaPad 10 FHD, also with our own chipset, this time with a speed of 1.2 GHz. It's flying fast from a performance point of view. It also offers everything you want from an up-to-date tablet. It has obviously a full HD display. It's for the best-in-class multimedia experience. We are supporting nearly all possible codecs to make sure that every content you have, you can actually play back very, very nicely. As you can already see, it's very slim, it's very light. It only has 8.8 millimeters and a weight of roughly 560 grams. So you can use it wherever you want to, for every content you want to. Also, this device will be available from end of October onwards. Our recommended retail price for the device will be 449 euros. And I think with this device we'll definitely find a lot of new customers who are not just in the mobile world, but also who want to have a portable device, a device which you usually use at home. And this is actually the promise and the answer to that. But to round up our MediaPad portfolio, we also understand that it's not only good enough to have high-end devices, we also want to make sure that we can cover the entry level. And for the entry level, we have developed the MediaPad 7 Lite. The Media 7 Lite comes with a rich app suite, so a lot of additional applications, which makes life on a tablet nicer, easier, and in general better. as well as, again, a huge support for multimedia content in terms of codecs and of playbacks, and also of connectivity, so you can also plug this into your computer, into your television, and it will play back full HD movies if you want to do that like that. But it also gives you the truly mobile experience. Not only ship we the device with an built-in 3G modem, it also has the right form factor so that you actually can easily switch it in your pocket so that you can carry it around with you everywhere you want to go. And if you want to read something, check something, you just plug it out, you type your message, whatever you want, and off it goes again. And nobody actually really realizes that you have such a nice and powerful device in your pocket. So I think with this, I want you to close my part. As you have seen, we have a huge firework of new devices going into Q4. I think all these devices have their space. We are now at the stage where we really and truly can say from Huawei that we are like Volkswagen in the car industry. We are the full assortment offerer of devices. So we can actually, if you are looking for a small smartphone as an entry level, or if you want to have a high-end smartphone, if you want to have a small tablet, if you want to have a big tablet, we can offer everything. We also have the same breadth and depth of portfolio in the mobile broadband part as well as in the home solutions part. So I think that with this huge range of devices, we are finally arriving at the first step where I wanted to be when we started this journey with the Huawei brand last year here at IFA. Thank you very much for coming. And I think we have 2 microphones here, and I would ask Dennis back on stage. Dennis back on stage for any questions you might have. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Hi, Eric from Android Pit. Back on Mobile World Congress, we had specs reported for the MediaPad 10, and it was actually told, we were actually told that it was shipping with 2 gigs of RAM. Did some of the spec requirements change? And if so, was there any particular reason that you went ahead and slowed down to 1 gig of RAM?
Good question. I need to check that. Let me speak to my manager, and I will give you the answer later.
Sure, thank you.
Are you going to launch this year Windows 8 devices? You've said that you're going to launch, but you didn't say when.
Windows 8 is for us very important from a strategic point of view as well as from a platform point of view. We are launching devices as Microsoft has said, as we have said, but we are not announcing it in this show.
That will be this year.
Let's see. Any further questions?
Stephen Schenkel from CNET News. I'm sorry, did you say that all these devices would be available in October? Is that correct?
Exactly. We're starting to ship in October.
Okay, and also on the Emotion UI, are all those features that are going to be arriving, are those there now? I wasn't clear on whether they're available or when they will be available.
Emotion UI, actually the first version was already announced in China at the end of last month. We actually put it on online as a beta version to collect feedback from users. For the rest of the world, we're planning on, let's see, it's August already, right? Around mid-September.
That's version 1.
Yeah, that's version 1.
Yes. As Dennis said, this will be the beta version going to launch and have our customers test on it and give us feedback so that we actually can make sure that when we finally launch it on the devices, we'll be exactly what you expect.
But just to add to that, for the launch in Europe and rest of the world, we probably not cover every single device that last show just now. For sure, the P1 will carry it. We're hoping that the D1 will as well. The other devices will follow shortly.
So you're talking about launching all these devices in October in Europe, I assume. What is that launch? What is the launch going to be look like in terms of carrier support and, if not carrier support, marketing support? Are you going to be announcing partnerships with carriers that will carry the devices, or some of them, or is it just going to be a marketing effort to promote the brand by yourself, basically?
So, in general terms, what you have seen here, obviously the whole breadth of portfolio, you will definitely see an open market. There will be devices, parts of these devices which will be available at different carriers in different countries. So it's difficult to answer that necessarily yes or no answer. But yes, we do have partners for all of these devices. We have also in every country multiple channels to enter the market with these devices. And yes, we definitely will support our partners with the devices. And I'm not quite sure, because you mentioned branding, they all be Huawei branded.
Yeah, right. But supporting them with your own marketing campaign, other than carriers.
Yeah.
So there'll be a carrier partner for Germany then coming up with this as well.
For some of them, yes.
Hello, Anton Kalmén from Nordic Hardware Sweden. As someone mentioned before, we saw these devices at the Mobile World Congress already, and we were intrigued by them then. Is there any specific reason why they've taken so long to get into the market, and the decision to show them that early?
So, we at Huawei, we take one thing very serious, and that's the quality of the products. Rather than rushing out with a device which the world might like from a spec point of view, but is very disappointed by using it, we want to make sure that our devices are as perfect as possible. I mean, everything is not flawless, we know that. But we really take it very, very serious, and if you want to establish a new brand, especially in the European market, you have to make sure that you are as perfect as possible when it comes to quality. And this is one of the main drivers for us. This dedication to really offering a high quality device. And we are right, we showed it on the World World Congress, at least the smaller version, we decided that from market entrance, we will definitely take the D1 Quad XL into the European market because of the much better experience in terms of the battery.
Did you know already then that you were going to push the launch to October, or did you encounter any problems with your CPU, for example, or something other specific?
So there have been very specific reasons, but I can't talk about them.
Okay, thank you.